Great. I see we're live, Gaia. Are we also recording?
Yes, we are.
Great. Thank you. Good morning, everybody, and welcome to the Friday, March 18th committee meeting of the Environment Committee. We will be going right into recess, but anticipate starting this hybrid meeting shortly. Thanks so much.
Okay, good morning, everybody. Oh. Sorry, there we go. It's everybody's volume we're doing. Okay, we good? Sound good? Okay, perfect. We are going to reconvene this Friday, March 18th committee meeting for the Environment Committee. And I am looking forward to some discussion on some bills that we have heard at public hearing and ready for the JF process. Most of them have substitute language and we will be discussing them, but first I will turn it over to my co-chair, Representative Gresko, for any opening remarks.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Good to see people in the room. It's hopefully a good step in the right direction as far as getting back to normal here at the General Assembly and the LOB, and we're good to go. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Representative. And any remarks from our ranking member of the Senate, or I see that Senator pointing to Representative Harding.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I want to thank the committee for making the effort to make this at least partially in person today. It's nice to see everyone in the building working on the people's work. And I want to thank everyone who's made it in today, and for all those for joining. I look forward to the discussion on the agenda. So thank you, Madam Speaker, or Madam Chair, excuse me.
Thank you, Representative Senator Minor.
Not sure I got the right button. I guess I do. I also would like to join Ranking Member Harding in saying how appreciative I am for this opportunity to be back in what I think we all refer to as the People's House. When COVID hit, as a chair of the Regs Review Committee, we had already adopted rules about how we would conduct ourselves for that year. And we never, at that time, thought about doing anything virtually. It was all in person. And so it wasn't until I think it was late April or May that we were able to meet outside this building in person to change our rules. So certainly there's been a long process in a lot of ways. But I do agree with those that have said it before me today. I think this is an indication that there is some hope for Connecticut that we will get back to normal. I think there was some indication on the news this morning that even the large employers in the city of Hartford were calling people back to in-person work, and that they hope that it would be helpful to the city. And maybe at some point, state employees in Hartford will find themselves back here in greater numbers. But for today, I do join those that could be here in my appreciation for this opportunity. Thank you.
Thank you. And with that, let's dive into item number 3, bills for review. Number 1 is Senate Bill number 236, LCO 3665, an act concerning the use of backup diesel generators for purposes of peak shaving. Can I get a motion?
Motion to approve.
Motioned by Representative Gresko. Second?
Second.
A second by Representative Mashinsky. So this bill establishes steady state emissions and hour limits for diesel reciprocating engines used for peak shaving purposes. Peak shaving is using on-site power generation to reduce power use from the electric grid. The limits would apply to engines installed on or after July 1st of this year, totaling more than 5 megawatts generating capacity. There are emissions limits for specific pollutants that are set forth in the bill, and the annual hour use limits are 300 hours for operation for peak shaving purposes, and a total of 500 hours for operations for peak shaving maintenance and testing. There were some changes in the substitute language with respect to emergency use and removing that from those qualifiers there. The bill requires the exhaust from the engines to exit through a stack discharge height of at least 34 feet from the ground. Is there any discussion? Yes, Representative Harding.
Thank you very much, Madam Chair. Thank you for the summary. One question, if I may, through you. My understanding, my recollection is right, is this bill was generally derived from the DECD's plan to incentivize data centers to come into the state, which is improving the economy, adding more jobs to our state is obviously something that we're all in support of. And so my understanding is that I think previous session, there was discussions with the DECD commissioners regarding the language in the bill. And I believe that the previous iteration of the bill last session had some level of agreement from the DECD commissioner in their office. So in that vein, through you, Madam Chair, is this in agreement? Is this bill in agreement with the DECD commissioner in their office through you?
Thank you, Representative, for that question. And yes, last year, as many recall, the legislature did pass a bill to incentivize data centers to come into the state of Connecticut, recognizing that data centers do in fact use enormous amounts of electricity and do often use the practice of peak shaving with diesel backup generators, and recognizing that Connecticut has poor air quality and really needs some controls in place with respect to emissions. We did last year have discussions about what appropriate controls should be in place as we incentivize these businesses to come into the state of Connecticut. We did at that time have an agreement. Unfortunately, and I've said this before, I stood up on the floor of the Senate as we were passing that bill, agreeing to a yes vote to incentivize these data centers to come into the state of Connecticut with the agreement that we would be working on emissions controls, and thought that we could gain consensus and pass a bill last session. Unfortunately, that bill did not ultimately make it to the finish line. So here we are again. This legislation this year is modeled after the state of Delaware, who has put in strict emissions controls with respect to backup diesel generators. We are working, I know the DEP and the commissioner of DECD are working together to try to gain consensus. I do not believe that consensus has been gained at this point, although I did have a discussion with both commissioners, and there is an interest in trying to gain consensus and move forward. So with that being said, I'm hopeful for its passage out of committee today.
And thank you, Madam Chair, and I thank you for that explanation. So I have reservations with the bill based upon the fact that the DECD commissioner has not agreed to it. I understand that you have been in discussions and other members have been in discussions, but absent that agreement from their office, I have to consider voting no. This is an important economic driver for the state, according to the DECD commissioner, that potentially will bring in more jobs, more business, something that we all want. And I think there is a place we can get to, and I certainly hope to, in terms of gaining support from the DECD commissioner. This is something that we can promote the program and at the same time make sure it's environmentally friendly. That's something that I think we can all support. However, absent agreement from the commissioner's office in terms of gaining that support and being able to model a plan, I may have to vote no, despite the fact that I understand why it's the initiative is moving forward. I also, one of the concerns I just did also want to address was the fact that some of the testimony we received was the fact that some of the generators that would be required under this bill, you couldn't even purchase, that you'd have to basically make certain changes to it after purchased in order to make it comply. That's a concern as well. But nevertheless, as I mentioned, I have my concerns that maybe the reason I'm voting no today. However, I do hope to continue to work with the chair and all members of the Environment Committee to see if we can get to a solution that the commissioners, DECD Commissioner's Office can support. We can continue to incentivize these businesses to come to our state. However, as the bill is written now, I don't think it's in that place. So thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Representative Harding, and I agree. I'm a proponent of economic development and job growth throughout the state of Connecticut, but certainly not at the sake of our environment, which I think is what you were getting at as well. There were questions with respect to these generators, and I would just say that we also heard testimony that there have been 390 individual installations of these types of generators in the state of Delaware. So they are out there. They are not off-shelf generators, but they do exist and it can be done. I see Representative Mashinsky has her hand up. Representative.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I wholeheartedly support this bill and attempted to add this similar language to the data center bill last year. I do support data centers. I'm happy they're coming to Connecticut. It does appear that my town will get one. And there are neighbors there that care about air quality and noise. And we have to protect them as well. If we set standards, I'm confident that the data centers can meet them. And I would feel more comfortable protecting residents of Wallingford if this bill is in place. We need to take care of them as well as the economy. And I think this bill does it. So thank you for your persistence, Madam Chair. And hopefully this will get all the way through this year.
Thank you for those comments, Representative Dubitsky.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'm going to be voting against this bill. Last year, we passed the data center bill specifically to attract data centers. And it appears to me that by passing this bill, which would essentially create an impediment to those data centers coming in, we'd be cutting the knees out from the bill that we passed last time. And the entire purpose was to attract new business to the state. And now that businesses are starting to take the bait and be interested based on the bill that we passed last year, now we're throwing an obstacle in front of them. And it appears to me that that obstacle, that you can't just go to the store and buy these generators off the shelf. So what we're doing is we're showing that our state, even though we hold the carrot out and try to attract businesses, once they start investing money in our state, we're going to start whacking them with a stick. If we were going to pass this, we should have put it in the data center bill. So when a company was interested, they knew what they were getting into from the beginning. So I'm going to be voting against this bill. I think we're talking out of two sides of our mouths with these two different bills, especially with levels that are unattainable with any commercially available generators. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Representative. And I would just say that I disagree that we're talking out of two sides of our mouth. I think we can do this. We've seen this done in other states. I think it's important to recognize that we are the Environment Committee and charged with protecting the environment. And what we know to be true is that the EPA, if it hasn't already this week, is about to downgrade us from non-attainment to severe non-attainment for ground level ozone. Additionally, we are not meeting our goals with respect to the Global Warming Solutions Act. In fact, we are going in the wrong direction with respect to emissions, as a recent inventory shows. So I think, as I said before, I'm a huge proponent of bringing new business and new jobs into the state of Connecticut, but not at the cost of clean air and our environment. So I think, again, putting these protections in place, which we tried to put in place last year, we did have some consensus and agreement upon, and I'm hopeful that we can get to agreement this year and welcome data centers into the state of Connecticut, but put in place some important safeguards with respect to these emissions. Again, this is specifically for the purpose of peak shaving, lowering the cost of electricity because these data centers do use, in fact, so much electricity. It is just distinctly for the purposes of limiting the emissions with respect to that peak shaving. So I believe our good ranking member, Senator Minor, had a question or a comment.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. I not only based on your referral to the EPA downgrade that's expected, but also I think I had asked a question of the DEP commissioner about whether there was a document that they could send to us that would show what our air quality situation was at our westernmost border. For those of us that live in Litchfield County, we survived a number of very lengthy public hearings. In fact, there was a night that I wasn't sure the commissioner of DEP was going to survive, but nonetheless, Representative Horn and I have been keenly aware of air quality for some time. Developments in the state of New York gave rise to concerns that we heard from our constituents, and it was really focused around the air that comes to us from our west. So that's the basis for my question. My question is, has anyone seen any data that shows how dirty the air is coming in from the west of Connecticut so far? Through you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Senator Minor. I haven't seen the exact numbers. As I mentioned, there was an inventory done with respect to greenhouse gas emissions, and we received that data just a few months ago. I will say that it has long been recognized that we are a downwind state, which has severe impacts that you reference on the state of Connecticut. We are quite literally, as the DEP commissioner has put it before, the tailpipe of the country. And so we do get a lot of emissions from other places, which is why we need to be incredibly mindful of what we are doing here in Connecticut to protect ourselves further.
Thank you. So I don't in any way question whether or not there are health effects of certain levels of dirty air. I think there's plenty of data that would show that they are linked. And for those that suffer from respiratory issues, significant respiratory issues in some case, says this is as important as almost anything else in this state, certainly anything else we might do. My question still remains whether or not passing legislation that in this case might be viewed by some as changing the rules is really going to have much of effect, if any, on the people that I'm talking about. There are other bills that we will talk about, I'm sure, later in our process this year. But with respect to this bill and this bill alone for today, I can't support the bill. I do support clean air. And I seriously question whether the passage of this legislation will in any way improve the lives of the people that I'm talking about. But I understand why people that are concerned about clean air might want to look at almost anything we do from the lens of we shouldn't be contributing anything more to the air that comes to us from the West. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator Minor. Any other questions or comments from the committee? Seeing none, will the clerk, Representative Hennessy, just under the wire.
Thank you. I was a no vote last year on this bill because of the air issue, and I'm glad that we're taking this up and I totally support it. Thank you.
Thank you, Representative. And seeing no other questions or comments, will the clerk please call the roll?
Senate Bill 236, LCO 3647, an act concerning the use of backup diesel generators for the purpose of peak shaving. Cohen,
Senator Cohen votes yes.
Gresco,
Representative Gresco votes yes.
Slap,
Senator Slapp votes yes.
Palm,
Representative Palm votes yes.
I'm sorry, Representative Palm, are you in the building? Are you in the room or remote? Because I don't think I
I'm
saw
re-
you.
I'm remote. I'm on the screen and I
Oh.
vote yes.
Thank you so much, Representative.
Sorry,
Um,
Representative O'Day, I'm not sure if I missed.
No, sir, we're just starting. I'm on Senator Minor, the ranking member, sir. Senator Minor,
Senator Minor votes yes.
thank you. Representative Harding,
Representative Harding, thanks to Representative Horn is facing up direct. Votes yes.
okay.
Excuse me, Madam Chair. I believe our LCO attorney, Brad Towson, has a comment.
Yes, sir.
I apologize. Just for the record, I believe the correct LCO number is 3665, Madam Clerk.
Okay, my apologies. I'll relook that up. Okay, so the LCO attorney is saying that LCO number 3665. And then I have Representative Amy Berger-Giavallo.
Representative Berger-Giavallo votes yes.
Representative Betts.
Representative Betts votes yes.
Representative Callahan.
Representative Callahan votes yes.
Representative Chafee.
Representative Chafee votes yes.
Representative D'Amico.
Representative D'Amico votes yes.
Thank you, Representative. Representative Dillon. Representative Dubitsky.
Representative Dubitsky votes no.
Representative Fishbein. Representative Gucker.
Representative Ducker votes yes.
Representative Harrison. Hennessy. I'm sorry.
Hennessy votes yes.
Oh, thank you, Representative Hennessy. And I do apologize. I skipped Senator Haskell.
Senator Haskell votes yes.
Thank you. Sorry about that. Representative Horn.
Representative Horn votes yes.
Wonderful. Senator Kushner. Representative Michelle.
Representative Michelle votes yes.
Representative Mashinsky.
Representative Mashinsky votes yes.
Representative O'Day.
Representative O'Day votes no.
Representative Paris.
Representative Paris votes yes.
So obviously.
Representative Parker.
Representative Parker votes yes.
Representative Piscopo.
Representative Piscopo votes no.
Representative Urbimbis.
Representative Rabimbis votes no.
Representative Keys. Representative Ryan.
Representative Ryan votes yes.
Representative Smith. Representative Wilson.
Representative Wilson votes no.
Representative Young.
Representative Young votes yes.
Thank you. And that concludes the votes as I have them.
Madam Clerk, a couple of comments here. I believe Representative Harrison was not called in the roll, and we have a couple of members here that would like to change their vote for, so I'll leave it to you to call Representative Harrison, and then I will acknowledge the good ranking member, Senator Minor.
Of course, Representative Harrison.
Representative Harrison votes no.
Thank you, Representative. And Senator Senator Cohen, was there another individual you wanted me
Yes,
to?
so next we're going to go to Senator Minor.
Good morning. Just to show how well-oiled this machine is, I already need to change my first vote in person to a no, please.
Yes, sir.
And Representative Harding.
Representative Harding also apologizes in this cadence and everything. Representative Harding votes no. I apologize.
Yes, sir.
And Representative Betts.
Thank you. I also would like to convert my vote from a yes to a no. Representative Betts.
Wonderful, Representative. I'll take care of that right now.
Madam Chair, if I will.
Representative Callahan.
Thank you. I'm sorry, I'm bouncing back and forth to Judish and I had the wrong number. So I made a mistake as well. I meant to say no.
Okay. Thank you for the clarification.
And just want to remind everybody, all members, that we will in fact be leaving votes open until 12:30, I think, at this point today, so that we can allow folks who are in multiple meetings right now get back to vote on any that they missed. And now we will move on to number 2, which is House Bill 5291 LCO 3647, an act authorizing bonding for bikeways, greenways, and recreational trails. Can I have a motion?
So moved.
Moved by Representative Gresco, seconded by Senator Minor. And this bill would simply authorize another $3 million in GO bonds for DEEP's existing bikeway, pedestrian walkway, recreational trail, and greenway grant program, which would become effective July 1st of this year. Any discussion? Yes, Representative Harding.
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. If I would like to make a motion to make a consent calendar.
Yeah, I don't know that we need a motion for consent, but if this is a consentable item, I'd be happy to move it onto consent.
I would make that motion then if I have to make that motion.
No need to make a motion unless there's any objection. Any objection to moving House Bill 5291 onto consent? Okay, seeing none, that will be moved to consent. The next item is number 3, Senate Bill 239, an act prohibiting the use of certain rodenticides for the protection of hawks, raptors, and other wildlife. This is LCO number 3648. Can I get a motion?
So moved.
Moved by
Second.
Representative Michelle, seconded by Representative Horn. This bill would prohibit the use of second-generation anticoagulant rodenticide in wildlife habitat areas, which has been defined in the bill as state parks, state wildlife refuges, forests, and state conservancies. It requires DEEP to encourage federal agencies in Connecticut to comply with this ban, and it does have several exemptions. And I can go ahead and list them out if you'd like. The state used by a state employee who uses these products in public health activities, used by a state employee to protect water supply infrastructure and facilities, used by a health director to control mosquito or vector breeding areas, used to eradicate non-native invasive species on offshore islands, used to control a rodent infestation that is related to a public health need, It also exempted our medical waste generators, drug and drug device manufacturing facilities, as well as agricultural activity. It also would require this bill would require DEEP to adopt regulations to ensure that continued use of these rodenticides is not reasonably expected to have significant adverse effects on non-target wildlife. Any discussion? Yes, Representative Harding.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So I just want to confirm, and I think you've already addressed this in your summary, and I appreciate that, but I just want to confirm that this bill only applies to state property. Is that correct? Does not go outside of that?
That is correct, Representative.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And I want to thank the committee for their effort and the leadership for their effort and work on this bill. And I believe I would, well, I'll leave it to Senator Minor. Thank you, Madam.
Thank you, Representative Senator Minor.
Thank you, Madam Chair. First, I know Section E, starting on line 60, talks about the development of regulations to ensure that the continued use of second-generation anticoagulant rodenticides is not reasonably expected to result in significant adverse effects on non-target wildlife. Is there, maybe I should ask this to our LCO attorney, is there any way that the Commissioner of DEP through this section could come to the conclusion that absent an outright ban in the state of Connecticut, there is no way to reasonably expect that non-target wildlife could be impacted? Through you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Senator Minor. Mr. Towson?
I would just ask the good senator to perhaps rephrase the question, because I'm not quite sure I understood. I understood your question to be, there is no way to reasonably believe that that could be the case. Is that correct?
Through you, Madam Chair. So on line 63, the statement is not reasonably expected to result. So clearly the commissioner in the development of a regulation could come to the conclusion that there is no way that she could reasonably expect that any non-target wildlife would be affected by the second generation rodenticide on any other land that it wouldn't already be restricted to by this bill. I think when we attempted to deal with the outright moratorium, we removed a section of the bill thinking that this was going to provide an opportunity for others, including farmers and those that are exempted in the bill, to continue to use this product. The question of whether that's a good idea or a bad idea, I would suggest, might be the subject of continued conversation. But I just want to be sure that in support of this bill, we're not saying that we also support the development of regulations without further Environment Committee review that may in fact ban the use of these products statewide before they come back to the committee. Was that any clearer?
Mr. Towson?
These regulations, as you know, Senator Minor, would have to go before the Regs Review Committee. They wouldn't have to come back necessarily to the Environment Committee per se, but it would be up to, under this provision, it would be up to the commissioner to make a determination as to whether or not it would be reasonably expected that that could be the result.
Thank you. That's a sufficient response, and I thank the chair for her indulgence, and I thank Mr. Towson for his answer. Like most of the bills that we look at here on the committee, I think we try to look at them through the lens of their impact on the environment. And the further I dug into this legislation, I would say the worse the story got. When I think about buying a small quantity of rodenticide and putting it in a box and putting it in the basement of my house, and I don't have children and I don't have pets, I think I can be with some level of reason assured that when the rodent consumes the bait, in all likelihood, they're going to die somewhere in the walls of my house or in my basement. But that's not what life is. Life is that these products are available to the public in quantities, in some cases, that are pretty large. In fact, I think the EPA, in an attempt to try and restrict use, decided that some gallon by weight or by volume quantity was sufficient to persuade most people that they shouldn't be purchasing it. But now that we've joined the revolution of I want this gone tomorrow and the more the better, I'm afraid that in some cases that's not necessarily going to generate the best environmental outcome. We spoke earlier about how wonderful it is to have the public in the building, but I feel almost compelled to remind people that the public really hasn't had access to the building. And again, excited to see people today, but to be quite honest, there are lobbyists in the building now today that weren't available to be in the building on other days where they would have been able to kind of catch our ear and say, have you considered this or have you considered that? I'm inclined to support the bill today in its current language. But I certainly don't want anyone to think that this should be end of this conversation, perhaps in years to come. It's hard for me to imagine that I would somehow have impacted my neighbor's cat because my neighbor's cat may have consumed some of this product through the ingestion of a mouse or a mole or a rat. But at the same time, it's hard for me to support a bill that would do an outright ban, knowing that these rodents carry very significant diseases. White-footed mouse is one of the premier carriers of ticks, which are the premier carrier of Lyme's disease, and now worse diseases than Lyme's disease, if that's possible. And so, there is a place for these products. Maybe they should only be available in the hands of licensed applicators. Maybe the time has come where the general public shouldn't be able to have the access that they do. I'm hoping that with COVID winding down, all efforts on the part of the DEP will be put into doing some outreach to make sure that retailers have what they can lawfully have on the shelves available and not what they can't lawfully have on the shelves available. Because I think to restrict the use for licensed applicators really, if that's a word, could have a very significant poor health outcome for people that don't have the choice that some of us do living in the country. At the risk of being somewhat country-ish, I can take my pellet gun or my 22 out in the backyard and shoot field rats from now till the day I die, and I don't have to put poison out. I can put large snap traps out and don't have to worry about whether my cat is going to get caught in them. But when you get to a place like Hartford, in fairness to people that live here, those opportunities really don't exist. And if we pass a bill in the state of Connecticut that subjects them to being overrun by some of these rodents that would could very well make people sick and die, then I think we just need to be very careful how we do that. So my intent is to support the bill. My intent is also to take further look at the last section to see if there's any meaningful change we can make to that to ensure that we won't end up prematurely banning all of these subjects, products in the next year. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator Minor. I would just say that I had the privilege of visiting a wildlife rehabilitation center in my district that works specifically with birds of prey across the state. And to see these majestic birds being rehabilitated and then being able to take flight once again was really special for me and a treasure. Did I see any birds there that had been poisoned by these second gen rodenticides? No, because they were all dead. They are unable to be saved once they consume an animal that has ingested this second generation anticoagulant. But if they were to consume an animal, as we heard at public hearing, that had consumed perhaps first generation rodenticide or had some other means of pest control or rodent control, that would not be the case. It still is dangerous, the first gen rodenticides to hawks and raptors, but what we heard was that there are other tools in the toolbox that are not quite as deadly to both, the rodents that we are trying to eradicate in certain situations, and also these hawks, raptors, and other wildlife, as you mentioned, cats, and in some cases consuming this material. So we always talk about walking the walk and talking the talk in the state of Connecticut. And I think that's why this is an important first step as we explore a prohibition on use on state land. I see Representative Michel has a question or comment.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'm very supportive of the bill, but I'll be supportive of efforts to broaden and strengthen such efforts in the very near future. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Representative. Senator Minor.
I appreciate the chair's indulgence. So my limited research on first and second gen rodenticides is that there is no antidote for the first generation rodenticide, but there is an antidote for the second generation rodenticide. And so that was the reason why the second generation was developed. It's quicker, takes less product, but my understanding is there is the potential, if caught in time, for some recovery. I would agree with the co-chair wholeheartedly that to imagine that some of the raptors we have worked so hard to help recover here in Connecticut, to imagine that we're somehow going to accidentally wipe them back out again through inappropriate use of some of these products is something we should be concerned about. But again, I think it's important to point out in the discussion, which has been probably somewhat hampered by COVID, the alternatives are rather significant. So if anyone's had a price given to them to do exclusion methods to their home, I think they would find that those costs are somewhere north of $2,000 or $3,000. And so once again, to imagine people who have a choice between getting to work, buying groceries, buying fuel for their car, or spending $2,000 or $3,000 as opposed to spending whatever the cost is to try and treat their rodents themselves, I think the public has to make some very difficult decisions. And so as this bill goes forward, I just think it's important to remind people, or at least inform them if they haven't heard it before, these other alternatives are not without cost. So if people think it's get rid of this and nothing will happen, that couldn't be further from the truth. If the thought is that get rid of this, there's some other mechanism by which we can put bait in a bait box and that will take care of the problem, I'm told that's not possible yet either. But I am told by the good people that work for the agency that there are serious considerations being given to alternatives, including things like dry ice. But I don't know about you folks, but I couldn't tell you where to buy dry ice if you held a gun to my head. And so, I think we're going to get there. I think the public health risk of trying to get there in one fell swoop is pretty risky. And again, I got my own solutions. My neighbor doesn't care, but I can assure you for the vast majority of people in Connecticut that don't have $2,500 to do exclusion, and there's no guarantee that that will be forever, these products have some value. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator Minor. Any other questions or comments from, Senator Minor?
My intention was to support this bill, and it still is to support this bill. I honestly think the leadership of this committee has done the best it can to try and get this bill to a point where we should support the bill going forward. I think it's worthy of the full debate of the legislature. And so without objection, I would put this on the consent calendar, knowing that there may be some work yet to do.
Well, there is no objection to that from the chair. Do I see any objection to making this consentable? Okay, it goes to the consent calendar. Item number 4, HB 5140, LCO 3652, an act concerning the hand harvesting of horseshoe crabs in the state. Can I get a motion? Moved by Representative Gresco, seconded by Representative Harding. Representative Gresco, my co-chair, would you like to speak on this bill? Give a little summary.
Thank you, Madam Chair. This bill, basically, the JFS language would change the date of implementation to October of this year, and it would also align the rest of the regulations pertaining to horseshoe crabs as far as penalty goes into one alignment. So we heard testimony from quite a few people in favor of the ban. We do know that the DEEP has produced some regulations that are going to be heard in front of Regs Review next month. So we will be watching that and to see how that all shakes out. But the complete ban, I just want to be able to have as an option going forward. So we heard plenty of testimony about the effective extinction levels that we seem to be experiencing in Long Island Sound when it comes to the horseshoe crabs. So this would be something that maybe isn't permanent, but is something that we can put into place for a period of time to let the population rebound and then see where we are. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Representative Gresco. Are there any comments or questions from the committee? Yes, Senator Minor.
Thank you, Madam Chair. First, let me thank Chairman Gresco for his work on this subject. He and I have had a number of conversations about the importance of horseshoe crabs, both from the standpoint of the environment and the standpoint of people that earn their livelihood on Long Island Sound. Again, this is a committee where you can get a pretty neat education if you listen and ask questions. So his indulgence to move the date to October is out of respect for people that are currently licensed in the state of Connecticut and would probably have no alternative in the next 2 months in terms of bait for the other fisheries which they're engaged in. And so there's no doubt that this species is experiencing some level of trouble, depending on where you live along the eastern seaboard, especially. In places like Long Island Sound, the numbers have been going down. It's not a species of animal that we know a whole heck of a lot about, but it is, what we do know about it is that it's very important to other birds, not necessarily birds of prey, but birds that stop in Connecticut and on Chesapeake Bay on their way far north to nest. And so it's certainly worthy of our consideration and our our levels of protection, which we did last year, which the regulations are just catching up to now, and this year, which they will undoubtedly have to catch up to next year. But again, I think it's a bill worth supporting. And after there are comments made, if without objection, I'd move this to consent as well, if the chair wants to consider that. But I see there at least is one other hand raised. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator Minor. Representative Michel.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I just wanted to thank Chair Gresco for raising this, and that I also encouraged members of the committee, as I will be doing, to look further into the trawler's impact on horseshoe crabs. I know they're only authorized to land very few, but I think it raises a conversation with the federal observers that are on those ships to figure out what exactly we're looking at, and if those horseshoe crabs are thrown back in the water alive or not. As Deep said, that they most likely are not injured, but it's hard to imagine not being injured when you're squeezed between hundreds and thousands of other marine life. So I just wanted to again thank Chair Gresco on this bill. Thank you. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Representative. Yes, Representative Harding.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I do support this effort. I think Senator Minor's comments were important. I agree with them. I also agree with Chairman Gresco and his work on this. With all of that said, I would like to ask that this, or I would request that this be placed on consent.
Thank you, Representative, and I have no objection to that. Do any members have objection to placing this item on consent? Seeing none, it will move to consent calendar. Okay, item number 5, SB number 238, an act concerning revisions to certain environment-related statutes. This is LCO number 3635. Can I get a motion?
So moved.
Moved by Representative Michel, seconded by Representative Horn. Okay, this is, a statutory revision bill for DEP and is not small in size. So I will attempt to just quickly go through each section. Section 1 basically requires applicants for wastewater treatment facility operator certifications to be able to take, instead of the national exam and taking both that exam as well as a supplemental examination from DEEP, it allows a designated agent of DEEP to administer and proctor the exam. So they can really streamline and perhaps take an online certification course rather than in person. Section 2 clarifies that the aquaculture structures approved by the Army Corps of Engineers are exempt from state permits to dredge, erect structures, or place fill in these waters. This is absolutely in line with current practice, and so just some conforming language. Section 3 repeals the requirement that municipalities need to get DEEP's approval before adopting municipal noise control ordinances. They must be at least as stringent as state noise control plans. Section 4 gives DEEP the authority to require an air pollution source that must obtain a permit under Title V of the Clean Air Act to comply with Part 62. This is, again, clarification in statute, adding part number 62. Sections 5 and 6, the bill makes a minor change to clarify that the state forest fire warden has the authority to maintain and equip fire crews for not just in-state fires, but out-of-state fires as well. Being able to send a crew to the California wildfires, for example, I think has this in mind, allowing aid to and from any state that belongs to a regional forest fire protection compact. as long as the other state's legislature agrees to have them. So there's a change there. Section 7, there is a Forest Practices Advisory Board. This section specifies qualifications here for each appointment, and it also requires that the state forester be on the board and serve as the board's chair, but it allows that state forester to have a designee on the board and serve as chair in his or her place. Sections 8 and 9 authorized the Deep Commissioner to grant a 60-day an extension to renew commercial forest practitioner certification. Also authorizes the Commissioner to certify additional forest practitioners without examination through alternative certification, and also modifies continuing professional ed requirements and associated reporting requirements. Gosh, I'm tongue-tied today, for certified forest practitioners. So that's the continuing ed piece. Section 10 of the bill allows the holder of a pesticide certification, if their certification has lapsed but is still on less than a year, they can go ahead and certify without reexamination. There are late fees and a renewal fee in place for that. If it is 1 year or more, they must be reexamined. Section 11 of the bill allows DEEP to register, renew, and collect pesticide product registration fees on an annual basis. It's current law that it's 5-year cycles. They can still do it in 5-year cycles should they so choose. Section 12 generally requires people and municipalities operating under general permits to pay an annual fee unless the permit says otherwise. These fees would be $200 when the permit requires both registering with DEEP and obtaining its approval before starting the activities, and $100 when the permit only requires registration with DEEP before the activity is allowed. And finally, sections 13 through 17, many on the committee will remember that last year we passed a bill with respect to our radiation statutes. This bill would make minor and technical changes to update and effectuate the state's transition as an agreement state with the U.S. National Regulatory Commission, the NRC. It would specify that the NRC keeps its authority to regulate certain materials or activities as required under federal law, also requires NRC licenses in existence before the NRC and Connecticut agreement that did go into effect because of the agreement, that they will then be under DEEP oversight and remain in effect until DEEP issues a next license. Any questions? Yes, Representative Harding.
Thank you, Madam Chair, for that very succinct summary of a very extensive bill. I think for the most part, this bill addresses some efficiencies within DEEP, and I think makes the process for individuals that may be involved in a certain industry applying for permits, or involved in certain industries working with DEEP, to make the process a little more efficient and a little less bureaucratic. So I think in many respects, this bill does a lot of good. One of the areas of the bill that I, and I think many other colleagues have concerns with is section 12 of the bill. And my concern, and I think my other colleagues' concern, is the fact that this would be increasing fees or implementing fees for permits now that industry and individuals would not otherwise be paying as of today. And I think I could probably speak for my colleagues on both sides of the aisle in stating that the last thing we need to be doing now is implementing and increasing fees on individuals and businesses when we see inflation driving up those fees everywhere else. So I think we need to be ever more cognizant of that, and I think we are. So in that same vein, I do have an amendment to make it easy. I'll make it an oral amendment so we don't have to pass out the paperwork, but it's really simple. It's to strike section 12 of this bill in its entirety. and remove the section that would implement a fee for these permits that would otherwise not be there today. And I would ask my members to support, my fellow colleagues to support this.
I'll second it.
So, I would just say that Section 12 of this proposal, in its intention, amends Section 22A-6F to establish authority to set annual fees for general permits. More and more individual permits are moving to general permits, and as a result, application fees are significantly lower. They are not in alignment between the two, the individual permits and the general permits. So I think it was really a matter of the DEP looking to help cover the cost of compliance monitoring, as the fees for these general permits are significantly lower. That being said, I certainly would take some discussion from any committee members with respect to the amendment, but I would be inclined as the committee chair to support this as a friendly amendment. Yes, Representative Betts.
Thank you, Madam Chair. If this fee is being put in and it's brand new, how did they cover the cost before this fee was proposed?
Thank you for the question, Representative Betts. So there are, as I understand it, several permits that are individual permits. But as more and more folks are moving away from, they're sort of streamlining at DEP to speed up the permit process. And so as more and more of those individual permits are moving to general permitting, the fee structure is different. And so the general permits are significantly less expensive to obtain than those individual permits were. As a result, our DEP is telling us they're having a hard time covering the cost of compliance. That being said, I do think we need to work with our Department of Energy and Environmental Protection to better understand the fee structures and the cost differentials and what the cost of compliance monitoring is before we move forward. And so that's why I would support this as a friendly amendment.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you. Any other questions or comments on the amendment before us to strike Section 12 of this bill, SB 238? Okay, seeing none, I will entertain a voice vote. All in favor of the amendment signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Okay, the amendment passes. Is there any discussion on the underlying bill? Seeing none, will the clerk please call, will the clerk please call the roll?
Sure thing. Let me just get all my paperwork here ready for us. Okay, so for Senate Bill 238, LCO 3635, Senator Cohen.
Senator Cohen votes yes.
Representative Gresco.
Representative Gresco votes yes.
Senator Slapp. Representative Palm.
Representative Palm votes yes.
Senator Minor. Representative Harding.
Sorry.
Of course.
Senator Minor votes yes.
Thank you, Senator. Representative Harding.
Representative Harding votes yes, and I mean it this time.
glad to hear. Representative Berger Javallo.
Berger Javallo votes yes.
Thank you. Representative Betts.
Representative Betts votes yes.
Representative Callahan.
Yes, and Representative Harding stole my line. Representative Callahan votes yes.
Representative Chafee,
Rep. Chafee votes yes.
Representative D'Amico,
Representative D'Amico votes yes.
Representative Dillon, Representative Dubitsky, Representative Fishbein, Representative Gucker,
Representative Gucker votes yes.
Representative Harrison,
Representative Harrison votes yes.
Senator Haskell,
Senator Haskell votes yes.
Representative Hennessy,
Representative Hennessy votes yes.
Representative Horn,
Representative Horn votes yes.
Senator Kushner, Representative Michelle,
Representative Michelle votes yes.
Representative Mashinsky,
Representative Mashinsky votes yes.
Representative O'Day,
Representative O'Day votes yes.
Representative Paris, Representative Parker,
Representative Parker votes yes.
Representative Piscopo,
Representative Piscopo votes yes.
Representative Verbimbis,
Representative Rabimbis votes yes.
Representative Reyes,
Representative Reyes votes yes.
Representative Ryan,
Ryan votes yes.
Representative Ryan, I'm just going to have you do that one more time, please.
Representative Ryan votes yes.
Lovely. Thanks so much. Representative Smith,
Representative Smith votes yes.
thank you. Representative Wilson,
Representative Wilson votes yes.
Representative Young.
Representative Young votes yes.
Okay. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Okay, the next item is number 6, Senate Bill 243, an act concerning climate smart agricultural practices. This is LCO 3653. Can I have a motion?
So moved.
Moved by Representative Bresco,
Second.
seconded by Representative Michelle. Okay, so this bill allows the DOAG commissioner to pay any farmer in advance up to 50% of the cost to comply with a comprehensive farm nutrient management plan or farm resources management plan that DEP has approved. Currently, DOAG is only able to reimburse the farmer after the fact, so this is a 50% advance. Current law requires that DOAG give priority to capital improvements made in accordance with a comprehensive farm nutrient management plan or farm resources management plan. But this bill also would give priority to capital improvements under a farmland restoration and climate resiliency plan. It also allows the farmer to be paid 50% in advance or reimbursed for the costs of farm equipment purchases approved under this plan, and additionally authorizes the DOAG commissioner to pay or reimburse a municipality, nonprofit organization, soil or water conservation district or Yukon Extension services for many items involving climate smart ag practice, including technical assistance, distributing grant funding pertaining to any program, training programs, projects that pilot or demonstrate conservation practices, help in creating tools that would reduce barriers to accessing help for conservation practices on farms, and establishing equipment sharing programs or any other activities that increase the number of farmers implementing these climate smart ag and forestry practices. Is there any discussion or comments from the committee? Yes, Senator Minor.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Once again, I would say that this is a bill that leadership worked pretty hard on to try and make what intends to be a good bill for agriculture and a good bill for the earth maybe more manageable, or at least a little more respectful of the process, where we think people should have some skin in the game. And so the change on line 3 does allow for advance payments to farmers, but it also kind of puts the impetus on them to finish whatever it was that they started to get the other 50%. In line 40, there's some reference to climate smart agriculture. And I know the Farm Bureau has supported the legislation for a number of reasons that they should support the legislation, but I would respectfully suggest that the Farm Bureau pay close attention to collections of words like climate smart agriculture. There's a school of thought developing in some circles where large farms that may have more than 500 sheep or 500 cows or 500 rabbits, or you name it, is somehow an industrial farming operation. And as I pointed out to the chairs, large agricultural farms by Connecticut standards are in no way large agricultural farms by the country's standards or the world standards for that matter. And that sometimes the only way where you can get enough efficiency in producing milk is to milk more than some number of cows, especially if you want to keep it at what's affordable for people who don't have a lot of money to spend. And so my inclination is to support the bill, especially because of the changes that have been made. But again, I'd like to call the Farm Bureau's attention to those words that seem to be showing up every now and again, which I think may very well impact farmers that all of us have grown up appreciating having in the neighborhood. They don't like development for housing. And so they like having dairy farmers in their neighborhood. If the only way you can make a living is having more than some number of cows, I just think we should be careful with some of these words. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator Minor. And just to that point, I would just like to put in a plug for all our work last year that we did with respect to on-farm digesters with these large farms. And I think that certainly would be considered a climate smart ag practice. And so I would encourage our agricultural community to take a close look at that as they move forward. And Representative Piscopo has a question or comment.
Thank you, Madam Chair. My question goes to line 17 into 18. Is this farmland restoration and climate resiliency plan, is this something new that just happened recently and it's being implemented across the country? I assume it's from the United States Department of Agriculture.
We do have farmland restoration and climate. It was referred to as the Farmland Restoration Plan previously. What we are changing the name to the Farmland Restoration and Climate Resiliency Plan. And yes, there is in existence a Farmland Restoration Plan. So again, we're just adding climate resiliency to that title.
Thank you, Madam Chair. When you say we, is it us, the Department of Ag is doing this, or is it handed down from the federal government?
I would just call your attention, Representative Piscopo, to line 51, where Farmland Restoration and Climate Resiliency Plan means a conservation plan of the United States Department of Agriculture's Nature Resources Conservation Service.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Therein lies my fear. This is being handed down from the United States Department of Agriculture. And while I have every bit of confidence in our commissioner, our commissioner of agriculture, that he would take care of all forms of agriculture in the state, large and small, and a lot of us have helped our farmers get on the farm nutrient management plan or farm resources management plans. I've called the commissioner on that, and he's been very helpful on that, trying to get help for some of our farmers, and probably many others on this committee and the whole legislature have taken advantage of that plan. And this would tie the commissioner's hands, and I will go over his, I was present at the public hearing, but this may tie our ag commissioners' hands to give priority to just those farms taking part in that particular plan. And I'm worried some of our maybe smaller farms may slip through the cracks on this, and they would not be eligible now for the funds that they usually would go for. Some of our smaller, as Representative Minor says, neighborhood farms. So I worry about this one size fits all coming down from the federal government. They have to go through a lot of, they have huge pig farms in the South and thousands of acres of wheat fields in the in the Middle West, and and huge cattle ranches, and so this one size fits all thing and tying our commissioners' hands to give priority to only those that abide by this plan worries me. So I think I will flag this with a no vote. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Representative Piscopo. And in my attempt to clarify the language, I was remiss in going a bit further past that line as far as the definition of farmland restoration and climate resiliency plan. And I would just call your attention to line 54, where it says, or a conservation plan approved by the Commissioner of Agriculture. So that would be our Connecticut Commissioner. I do see another question from Representative Dubitsky.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I get a little hesitant when we start using these catchphrases, smart with a hyphen attached to just about anything, suddenly takes on an interesting connotation. And I want
Representative Dubitsky, I think just for that last part, you muted yourself.
Sorry, I had a little thing that came up and said the host had muted me, but nevertheless, I would like to associate myself with the comments of my two colleagues who just spoke before me. I'm going to support this bill, but I just want to make absolutely sure that that smart farming and smart agriculture does not in any way mean farming and agriculture without animals. And I know there are people out there who believe that it isn't smart so long as you have animals being eaten. I want to make it very clear that that's not the intention of this bill. That's not the intention of the definition of smart agriculture. And that's certainly not anything that I would support. I'm going to support this bill today, but I'm going to keep a very close eye on anything that is attached to the word smart, because different people have different ideas of what is smart. And I know there are people out there who would love to see smart agriculture mean agriculture without the use of animals. So those are my only comments. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Representative Dubitsky. And I would just reiterate that I believe that there are climate-friendly practices to be had for farmers of livestock as well. And so I certainly would concur that that should be the intent of this bill. Representative Mashinsky.
Thanks, Madam Chair. I wanted to reassure the representative that the NRCS folks in Connecticut, who are very accustomed to helping small farms, are already on board with this type of education and encouragement, and they're ready to work with the farmers now. So I think your fears are not warranted. They will get technical help from folks on the ground in Connecticut who are working with them on a regular basis, and it'll be pretty painless to adopt some new practices that help prevent climate change as well as help the farmers stay in business. So don't fear it. It's actually a good thing. And in some of the other states, they're actually making progress in conserving their land for the long term of farming, which is a good thing for the farmer too. So we have some very smart people ready to help the farmers here in Connecticut, and the farmers will take advantage of that. So this is a good bill, and we're on the right track. and it's no threat to the farmers. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Representative. And I concur, and I really think that the Working Lands Alliance, together with the Department of Agriculture, they've been working together on this. And I think it's resulted in a good bill. We've been working together with the ranking members of the committee to ensure that we put something out there that will be productive for everybody and result in climate smart practices going forward. With that, I don't see any other questions or Representative Michel.
Sorry, Madam Chair. Yeah, just wanted to make a quick comment that in light of everything that we know about climate change, and that it is certainly a better practice to look forward to in the future, to veer, not to go against necessarily farmers, but to actually work with them and to get closer to practices that don't contribute to emissions or to animal cruelty as well. And so, yes, I know the other representative, I think Representative Dubitsky mentioned there are some that would like to see farms with no livestock. And I will concur about that, but I don't think that's the point in this bill. But I just wanted to reiterate that that is certainly something to look into for the future. Thank you.
Thank you, Representative. Seeing no other questions or comments, will the clerk please call the roll?
For Senate Bill 243 LCO 65, I'm sorry, I want to make sure I have this right. Senate Bill 243 LCO 3653. Cohen?
Senator Cohen votes yes.
Gresco?
Representative Gresco votes yes.
Slap?
Senator Slap votes yes.
Hom? Minor?
Senator Minor votes yes.
Harding?
Representative Harding votes yes.
Berger Givallo?
Rep. Berger Givallo votes yes.
Betts?
Here I am again. Representative Betts says yes.
Okay, thank you. Representative Callahan?
Representative Callahan votes yes.
Okay, I'm just having a little problem seeing you, so why don't we just give that one more try?
Representative Callahan votes yes.
Great. It's the audio more than the movement. But thank you so much, Representative Callahan. Representative Chafee?
Representative Chafee votes yes.
Representative D'Amico?
Representative D'Amico votes yes.
Representative Dillon? Representative Dubitsky?
Representative Dubitsky votes yes.
Representative Fishbein? Representative Gucker?
Representative Gucker votes yes.
Representative Harrison?
Representative Harrison votes yes.
Senator Haskell?
Senator Haskell votes yes.
Representative Hennessy?
Representative Hennessy votes yes.
Representative Horn?
Representative Horn votes yes.
Senator Kushner? Representative Michel?
Michel votes yes.
Representative Mashinsky?
Representative Mashinsky votes yes.
Representative O'Day?
Representative O'Day votes yes.
Representative Paris?
Representative Paris votes yes.
Thank you, Representative. Representative Parker?
Representative Parker votes yes.
Representative Piscopo?
Representative Piscopo votes no.
Representative Rabimbis?
Representative Rabimbis votes yes.
Representative Ryan?
Representative Ryan votes yes.
Fantastic. Representative, sorry, I think I might have skipped somebody and I apologize for that. Representative Reyes.
You did skip me. I was ready.
I'm so
Representative
sorry.
Reyes votes in the affirmative.
Wonderful. Thank you. Representative Smith?
Representative Smith votes yes.
Representative Wilson.
Representative Wilson votes yes.
Thank you. And Representative Young.
Representative Young votes yes.
I think I saw somebody come in. Nope, I think we're all set.
Yes, no, Gaia, I believe I missed it. I'm sorry. I was slow to toggle over.
No, thank you, Representative Palm. And how do you vote?
I vote yes. Thank you. Palm votes yes.
Thank you. And I think that concludes the votes that I have so far.
Okay, thank you, Madam Clerk. I will just say, I know I said we would hold the votes until 12:30. I think we may need to revisit that. So we will make a determination of the appropriate time to hold the votes open until at the end of this meeting. Moving on, number 7, SB number 117, an act concerning tree removal on properties under the
Madam Clerk, I've been trying to get your attention.
Okay. Representative Dillon. Representative Dillon, did you have a comment or are you trying to vote?
No, Madam Chair, I just wanted to vote.
Okay.
If I may, Senator or Madam Chair, is that there are a number of votes that are missing from Representative Dillon, and it probably would be more efficient if we discuss this at the end of the meeting, if that's okay with you, Madam Chair.
Sure. Representative Dillon, could you hold your vote until the end of the meeting?
That would be fine, as long as it's taken care of. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Representative. Okay, so SB number 117, an act concerning tree removal on properties under the control of the Department of Energy and Environmental Protection. This is LCO 3656. Can I get a motion?
So moved.
Moved by Representative Harding and seconded by Representative Horn. So this bill would require the Deep Commissioner to consult with an arborist. Sorry, folks, we are just getting used to this hybrid situation with some technical difficulties. So this bill would require that the Deep Commissioner consult with an arborist prior to the removal of trees in certain circumstances. Those circumstances are, and this is just removal and pruning, 5 or more trees per acre. A tree estimated to be at least 75 years old, or a species of concern, or a threatened or endangered species. If the tree work is not an immediate public hazard, there is a process by which the commissioner must post a sign on each identified tree 10 days prior to its intention to remove or prune it. If anybody does object to the proposed work during those 10 days, the DEP commissioner must hold a public hearing, giving all known interested parties at least 10 days notice of the hearing date and time, and posting that hearing date and time on the identified trees. The commissioner must also, within 10 days after the hearing, provide notice to all interested persons or known interested parties about the removal or pruning of the identified trees, her decision as such. If determining the tree is an immediate public hazard, an arborist must consider the tree's proximity to the public's use of the park or campground, and if physical changes to the public's use could reasonably change the determination on the tree being an immediate public hazard. The feasibility of pruning or pesticide application instead of tree removal, and the tree's age and history to determine its social or scenic value. If it is determined that the tree work is an immediate public hazard, the commissioner must consult with the arborist to determine if immediate removal is needed. If so, she may have the tree removed. She must record the date and location of each tree removed, as well as the arborist determination after considering all of the above factors, and post the record within 3 days of the tree removal on the DEEP's website. The bill will also require that the commissioner replace any trees in the park or campground after tree removal. The planting must be done with comparable trees that yield comparable calibers of diameter, canopy, and comparable aesthetic characteristics. Is there any discussion? Representative Horn.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I just wanted to thank leadership and particularly the hard work of Senator Minor for bringing this bill forward. It is, I think, will be of incredible importance for the trees and the health of the entire state, but certainly of critical importance for my district in the Northwest Corner. So thank you for all of your work on this important bill.
Thank you, Representative Horn, and I thank you for your input. I know that your district was just impacted by a large-scale tree removal, so I thank you for working with the committee. I see Representative Hennessy has his hand up.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I just want to comment that this bill is so necessary. What we've been doing to the trees in Connecticut has been abominable, bold, and we need to put safeguards in to protect our trees. Thank you.
Thank you, Representative Hennessy, and my co-chair, Representative Gresko.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I just want to say thank you to Senator Minor for working on this and bringing it to our attention, a need for the obvious adjustment in policy in this, and also to individuals who testified in the public hearing about the perfect future plan, which led us to include the replacement clause in this bill going forward. So much appreciated. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Representative Gresko. Representative Harding.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I just want to echo what everyone has said. I want to thank Representative Horn for her work on this. I also echo her words in thanking Senator Minor for his very hard work on this. Senator Minor, as we all know, has made a large impact on many things in this building over the years. I think it's a true testament to his legacy and his retirement to see that, you know, he was able to see with Representative Horn what happened firsthand at Housatonic Meadows. And it would be a nice legacy to ensure that there's policies in place to ensure that something like that never happens again in this state. So thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Representative Harding. Representative Palm.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Agree with all my colleagues on both sides of the aisle on this one. And I think if we believe in silver linings, perhaps the tragedy out at the Housatonic Meadows may have prompted more awareness on the part of the public. So I thank my colleagues. And I also believe, if it's not out of line for me to say, that we need at some point in the future to be inspired by this moment and think very deeply about the DOT and the tree cutting along state roads, which is a conversation for another day, and it's a different bill, but it springs from the same place, and at the risk of making a corny joke, has the same roots of concern. Thank you. And will branch out and proliferate beautifully. I see
Keep going, Representative.
I see you, Representative Piscopo. I see you. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, Representative Palm. Senator Minor.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. Let me say, first of all, that when I first brought this issue to the attention of committee leadership, and that's everyone, everyone was as horrified as Representative Horn and I were by what happened at Housatonic Meadows State Park. There are reasons why people come to Connecticut state parks. They camp in our campgrounds, not the least of which is they're beautiful. I'd like to think that what happened at that park in some cases was nothing more than an egregious error in process. But certainly the agency doesn't seem to be motivated to engage with the committee in a way that might be helpful to informing this legislation, rather they'd go about their own public hearing process and say, thank you anyway, we got this. The reason this kind of struck a chord with me is that maybe 50 years ago, maybe 48 years ago, I remember sitting in the diner across the street from this park, having fished the Housatonic and talking to an older gentleman that ran that diner and having a conversation about how beautiful the Housatonic River was and how often he met people from across the country that came to that area to fish. And so, you know, they didn't just cut trees. In the case of the people that live in that area, they decimated their neighborhood. An elderly woman died maybe the next week. I can't say that they were linked. I can tell you people in that region believe they were linked. I can tell you that people in that region are so motivated when this park is put back in some semblance of order. They want to have a path named in her memory. So this has certainly struck a chord. And even if Representative Horn and I chose to ignore it, as an elected official, I can tell you there was no way, not that we would, but it really is that important. And I want to say that I join Representative Palm in her comments. For years, this committee has tried to gain the attention of DOT, who seems to be on a relentless crusade to flatten every part of every state highway, or at least adjacent to every state highway in the state of Connecticut. And I think it is important to climate. I think there's a lot of information that shows that the best way to clean air is through its trees. And so I think this is a good first step. I, for one, on this committee would say that I am not opposed to engaging in a conversation with the DEP, but it's a short session and time is going by. And so that's the reason this bill's on the agenda. And I thank my colleagues for their support.
Thank you, Senator Minor. And I just like to share in my colleagues' comments and you know, thank you in addition to me thanking Representative Horn, but thank Senator Minor for all of his hard work on this. And what happened with a significant tree removal at Housatonic Meadows, you know, was hopefully an error in judgment, hopefully a process error, and we can prevent that with our state parks and campgrounds going forward. We are so lucky in the state of Connecticut to have such beautiful parks and campgrounds. One of the things that makes them so beautiful is, in fact, the trees that inhabit those parks and campgrounds. And some of them are so many years old and of significance, you know, in terms of species. And I think we ought to cherish that. And I think this bill gets at that. I too would like to agree with Representative Palm and Senator Minor. As many on this committee know, we have had bills before us before with respect to the Department of Transportation. And should I be lucky enough to be elected to serve the people of the 12th District again and serve this committee once again, I would like to see us revisit that in the future. I see Representative Harding has a question or comment.
Yep. Thank you, Madam Chair. And I'd like to request to place this item on the consent calendar.
As the chair, I have no objection to placing this on the consent calendar. Are there any objections from committee members? Seeing none, this will go on consent calendar. Okay. And our last item under number 3 is number 8, which is HB 5298, an act concerning waste to energy facilities. This is LCO number 3632. Can I get a motion? Moved by Senator Minor, seconded by Representative Gresco. So this bill, we all know that our MIRA facility, Materials Innovation and Recycling Authority here in Hartford, which has in the past served in excess of 100 towns in the state of Connecticut. I think now they are at just over 40 towns in the state of Connecticut, maybe 48 or so, is facing imminent closure. And with that, there are a number of issues that really need to be reviewed. And so what this is a bill establishing a 10-member task force to study the transition of MIRA and its operations. And the task force will have to report its recommendations to this committee, the Environment Committee, by January 1st of next year. And it will require the task force to develop recommendations for that transition based on a review of the issues relating to ongoing negotiations about RFPs for the operations, an analysis of issues that pose challenges to executing contracts for the operations, including the tonnage to be managed, number of municipalities that are opting out of MIRA's service agreements, and transfer stations, quantity and terms for the disposal of waste, as well as other in-state waste-to-energy facilities capacity. The task force recommendations will have to outline and prioritize options for transitioning operations if MIRA is unable to successfully conclude contract negotiations, including funding operations to potentially extend MIRA's operations until long-term transition solutions are developed. There is as I said, this is a 10-member task force. The substitute language before us today would include at least one of the members must own and operate a food waste anaerobic digester. Is there any discussion? Yes, Representative Harding.
Thank you very much, Madam Chair. This is a bill to continue a discussion on something that I would classify as certainly a crisis in our state, particularly with the eventual, unfortunately, it seems like closure of MIRA. We have to come up with some significant solutions here. And I look forward to hopefully this task force being a part of answering that question in regards to that solution. So I do support it. I urge my colleagues to support it as well. I don't know if there's any other discussion. If there's no other discussion, I would like to see this item. Yep. Okay.
Okay, thank you, Representative Harding. I'm going to go to Representative Mashinsky, followed by Representative Betts.
Madam Chair, thank you for putting this bill on the agenda. It's important that we deal with this directly and honestly, and we do have a crisis actually coming before January 1st of next year. It's actually probably coming in July of this year. Is there any way we can move up the date to have them report sooner in case the legislature or the governor has to step in with funding assistance to get an interim plan going? For example, could we do this July 1st or could we do it October 1st?
Thank you, Representative. So the task force needs to convene or form itself and convene immediately thereafter. So it is effective upon passage. They will need to present a formal report by January 1st, but I'm certainly willing to have that discussion as this bill moves forward through the legislative process if we need to work with the dates and perhaps talk about an amendment as we move forward.
Okay. All right. Just realistically, I know we normally say report back at the start of the next session, but realistically, we're probably going to hit the wall this summer before we go back into session next year.
Yes, I
looks
agree with you. Yeah. Thank you, Representative. I think most of us, a lot of us have some member towns in MIRA who we are hearing from. And if you do not represent a member town, you certainly are being impacted by this as capacity needs to shift. As environment committee members, we should all be concerned where all of Mira's trash will be headed, the trash that's coming in from its member towns. Because we do not have additional capacity in the state, that waste will likely be hauled to landfills outside of the state of Connecticut, which is certainly an environmental concern. So we need to have these discussions, and we need to have them yesterday. So I am in agreement with you, and I think we should have that discussion as we move this bill forward.
Okay, so not today, but we'll have to keep this in mind. I understand not today. You don't want to change it. I get it. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Representative Mashinsky. Representative Betts, followed by Representative Reyes.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Just two comments. One is, has any funding or staff been assigned to work with this task force? And if so, obviously it has to go to appropriations, which I'm pretty sure would have no objection. But would there be any staff required for this task force?
Representative Betts, it doesn't, as the bill is written right now, there is no appropriation. So it would not need to go to appropriations. This is specific to the creation of this task force and what it's charged with, and getting us a report back by a date certain. There are specific appointees laid out within the bill, as is, custom here in the legislature. When we form these task forces, there are appointees by each of the, majority leaders, the president of the Senate, the DEP, as they are concerned, the governor's office, and as I mentioned, an appointment from the owner of a food waste and anaerobic digestive facility. So as it stands right now, this bill does not appropriate funds.
Okay, thank you. But following up on what obviously is unanimous agreement, we have a crisis here and we have to really address it very soon. I certainly would support funding if funding is needed for this task force, but more importantly, how can we get these appointments to the task force to be made immediately so they can get the start to get organized and frankly work under a very short timetable?
These are all good points, Representative Betts, and I think it would behoove us to work with the leadership of all four caucuses to make sure that we move this swiftly through the legislative process, but also perhaps put in a date certain where this task force would be appointed and then convened immediately following. Thank you, Representative Reyes.
Thank you, Madam Chair, excuse me. I absolutely am in support of this. I think that the timing on this is Representative Mashinsky spot on. I think that this is already past crisis. And I'm concerned because it is an affected environmentally justice community that's unfortunately been long overlooked when it's in this situation. And my comment, I guess, is in this task study, I would like to make sure that those constituents that are affected, that they have a fair representation on that task force. And unfortunately, I apologize, I haven't been able to pull up the bill. I see that it had a public hearing, but I do want to thank the good Representative Horn for putting this bill in, number one. And number two, I do support it and absolutely want to move it forward. I just believe that we just want to make sure it's fair and that everybody who's totally in the game is actually at the table. So thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Representative Reyes. And just so we're clear, while Representative Horn may be a proponent of the bill, she is not the introducer of this bill. So we are working with MIRA as well as municipalities to really understand what we're up against here. as well as our Energy and Technology Committee, as well as all the stakeholders really, because this impacts so many. And as you say, it's important that the task force have all voices at the table. And I think that's why, the task force has, 2 appointees by the Speaker of the House, 1 by the President of the Senate, 1 by the Majority Leader of the House, 1 by the Majority Leader of the Senate, and so on and so forth, so that there could really be a determination and some voices heard from memberships of the House and the Senate as to what we're really looking for, what stakeholders ought to be a part of this task force, and we can appropriately move forward.
Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you. Senator Minor.
Thank you, Madam Chair. This is not going to be a simple fix. The state of Connecticut has been headed to this disaster for decades, and it frankly involves all of us. It's not about environmentally impacted communities more so than anyone else. I would argue that every community that throws away all that they throw away are going to have to be part of this conversation. This isn't one of those things, to my mind, where we should be so focused on the solution that we start making circles around communities and saying it can't happen here or it can't happen there. Fortunately or unfortunately for the state of Connecticut, we have been at this a long time, and there are truck routes, transfer stations, tip floors, recycling centers, and they're all over the place, but they only go, at the end of the day, they only go to so many places. And if we're going to talk about moving every waste to energy facility from every community that it currently exists, I'm not optimistic. I think Representative Mashinsky is quite right. In all likelihood, the end of the line could come long before next year. But quite honestly, folks, this really, if we're looking at this any other way, then we need to rethink how we collect garbage, how we sort garbage, at what point we sort the garbage, what we do with it. I mean, we have an opportunity here. We have facilities in the state of Connecticut to actually use glass. When I got elected the first time, there was no such facility. There were places that would ship it out. I think the limits were pretty much insulation or bust. DOT hasn't warmed up yet to using glass as aggregate material under even a sidewalk. So I get this idea, and it is a justifiable concern that certain people in the state of Connecticut are more impacted by the location of these facilities than others. It's never been lost on me. It's one of the concerns I've always had about putting my stuff at the end of the driveway and having it trucked to Hartford. But having said that, we need to really keep our eye on the ball. This has to be fixed, because if it's fixed the right way, I do think that the capacity in some of these other facilities may actually provide an opportunity for, maybe we don't need a plant. Maybe it goes away in Hartford. I don't know. Maybe it becomes a digester. Maybe it becomes something else. But we really got to be open to a lot of conversations and not start drawing circles around communities. And I do respect the fact that my good friend Representative Reyes is very concerned about the impact on his community and others. It is a concern to me as well, even though I don't live there. So that's why I sort my stuff at home. That's why I have a compost pile. And so, I think if we all start to look at it at its source, we're probably going to get a better end result for everybody, not the least of whom are people that live in Representative Reyes's district. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator Minor. Representative Harding.
Thank you, Madam Chair. If it's okay with you, I'd like to request to place this on consent.
I have no objection to moving this to consent. Any objections from the committee? Seeing none, we will move item number 8 under bills for review to the consent calendar. And Madam Clerk, I believe we have 5 items on the consent calendar. Could
That's
you
what I have.
list those and then call the roll, please?
Will do. So for the first one, I have House Bill number 5291, LCO 3647, an act concerning bonding for bikeways, greenways, and recreational trails. For the next bill, I have Senate Bill 239, LCO 3648, an act prohibiting the use of certain rodenticides for the protection of hawks, raptors, and other wildlife. For the next bill on consent, I have House Bill 5140, LCO 3652, an act concerning the hand harvesting of horseshoe crabs in the state. I just want to go back to Senate Bill 239. I hope that I said the LCO number. If I didn't, it's 3648. For the next bill that I have on the consent calendar is Senate Bill number 117, LCO 3656, an act concerning tree removals on properties under the control of the Department of Energy and Environmental Protection. And the last bill that I have on consent is House Bill 5298, LCO 3632, an act concerning waste to energy facilities. Senator Cohen?
Senator Cohen votes yes.
Representative Gresco?
Representative Gresco votes yes.
Senator Slapp?
Senator Slapp votes yes.
Representative Palm?
Representative Palm votes yes.
Senator Minor?
Senator Minor votes yes.
Representative Harding?
Representative Harding votes yes.
Representative Amy Berger Javallo? Representative Betts?
Representative Betts votes yes.
Representative Callahan?
Can you,
Rep-
I'll wait, Gaia. So,
Okay.
Representative Callahan votes yes.
Representative Chafee?
Representative Chafee votes yes.
Representative D'Amico?
Representative D'Amico votes yes.
Representative Dillon?
Representative Dillon votes yes.
Representative Dubitsky?
Representative Dubitsky votes yes.
Representative Fishbein? Representative Gucker?
Representative Gucker votes yes.
Representative Harrison?
Representative Harrison votes yes.
Representative Hennessy?
Representative Hennessy votes yes.
I'm sorry, Senator Haskell?
Senator Haskell votes yes.
Thank you, Senator. Representative Horn?
Representative Horn votes yes.
Senator Kushner? Representative Michelle?
Representative Michelle votes yes.
Representative Mashinsky?
Representative Mashinsky votes yes.
Representative O'Day?
Representative O'Day votes yes.
Representative Paris? Representative Parker?
Representative Parker votes yes.
Representative Piscopo?
Representative Piscopo votes yes.
Representative Rabimbis?
Representative Rabimbis votes yes.
Representative Reyes?
Representative Reyes votes yes.
Representative Ryan?
Representative Ryan votes yes.
Representative Smith?
Representative Smith votes yes.
Representative Wilson?
Representative Wilson votes yes.
Representative Young?
Representative Young votes yes.
That concludes the votes that I have.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. And I would just say for the committee's edification, we are going to keep votes open until 1:30 p.m. So simply log in and our clerk can take your vote. Item number 5 on the agenda is the announcement of time and date of next meeting, which will be on March 28th at 10 a.m. And with that, we are in recess. Thank you, everyone.
Representative Dillon, if you're on, I'll go through your votes with you.
Thank you very much, Madam Clerk. I'm in 3 places today, so I appreciate that.
Of course. Okay, so Representative Dillon, I have Senate Bill 236 LCO 3665. How do you vote?
I vote yes.
Okay, and then for Senate Bill 238, there was a friendly amendment of removing striking section 3. How do you vote?
I vote yes.
LCO 243, I'm sorry, SB 243, LCO 6553. Representative Dillon.
I vote yes.
Is there any Bales here? Is Kushner here? No, people are missing on that one. And then Senate Bill, then we have the consent calendar. And were you here for the consent calendar vote? I believe you were.
Are my votes completed, Madam Clerk?
Yes, they are.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Take care. Who else do I have here?
Madam Clerk, I believe I may have missed a vote, but I'm sorry. There are other
I'm not
people ahead of
sure.
me, I
I
think.
was looking at Senator Slapp. Senator Slapp, you only have one vote. It's SB 238 with a friendly amendment to strike 12. How do you vote?
Senator Slapp votes yes.
Okay.
Sorry, Will.
I don't have anybody else for that vote, so I'm going to put that aside. I do see some people here, and I want to make sure I'll get you on the vote that I'm
I think
on.
I have the same vote, the same bill.
I have you checked off as voting. Let me see. Dubitsky. Oh, no, Dubitsky. Thank you. For Senate Bill 238.
Yep.
How do you vote?
Representative Dubitsky votes yes.
Okay.
That's with the amendment, right?
That is with the amendment to strike.
Right, section 12.
Yes. And I do
Okay.
have you voting for all the other bills, Representative.
Great. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Take care. Okay. I'm just going to go in line of who I see. So I see Callahan. Let me just see.
Just checking, Guy, and making sure I didn't miss anything.
I don't see you missing anything, Representative.
Thank you, everyone. Have a good day.
You too. Okay, who do I have next? I have Will Haskell. Let me see, Senator.
Thanks, Guy. Yeah, I'm not sure, to be honest.
I know everybody's jumping all over. I have you for everything, Senator.
Thank you so much. Have a great weekend.
You too. Okay, Representative Gucker, I'm almost positive I have you for everything, but let me just take a quick look since you're here.
Just making
And
sure I've
you-
been in 2 meetings voting at the same time.
Of course. And you, sir, are all set.
Thank you very much. You have a great weekend.
You as well. Representative Smith, I do see you as missing one, and that would be Senate Bill 236 LCO 363565. How do you vote, sir? And I do see you're muted, Representative Smith.
I'm sorry. Yeah, I thought it went too easy. I voted from, you called me. I was responding from my car. Senate Bill 236, Representative Smith votes yes.
Thank you, Representative. Have a good weekend.
That's it, right, Gaia?
That's all I have for you.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it. Have a good weekend.
You too. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Okay, who I have next? Michelle. Hold on, Representative Michelle. I thought I saw you for everything, but let me just double check. You're all set, Representative Michelle. Have a great
Thank you very much, Guy. Have a great weekend. Bye.
Bye. Hello, Representative Parker. Let me see what I have for you.
Anything for me, Gaia? I'm sorry.
No, thank you for asking. And let me just double check. Sometimes
Okay, got it.
the
Thank you so much.
spreadsheets and everything look confusing. I have you for everything, Representative Parker.
Thank you, Gaia. Have a great weekend.
Thank you. You too. Ugh. Just looking agenda. Because Hi there, Representative.
Hi there,
Just
you
realized
got me?
my camera's even on. I mean, it's just going to take me a minute. Okay, so hold on for just one moment. I was trying to get the link over to you, and that got me my paperwork a little screwed up. So just give me a second, okay?
Yep, no worries.
Okay. Okay, I didn't even have my earplugs in, so whatever you said before that, I
No.
missed. So
No worries. And it's still, I went through the calendar and it was bringing me to the old link. If I went through the email, it brought me to the new link. So that was the problem. Anyway, all right. So I just missed consent calendar, correct?
no, there were several bills, so let me just get that sorted out for you,
Okay.
and I'll let you know when I'm ready.
Thank you.
Two, 3, 6, 2, 4, 3. Okay, good.
Okay.
2, 4, 3. I'm sorry, Representative. I'm just want to make sure I have all the votes in order, and I don't want to ask you the wrong question. I want to make sure I get this correct,
Sure.
okay?
No.
Just taking me one more minute. One, 7. Consent. Okay, I figured out what was screwing me up. So we're all set. So I have Senate Bill 243, LCO 6553. Actually, I do have you having voted for that. Let me just go to the next one. So actually, you're right, Representative. I'm sorry. I have you just for the consent.
Yeah. Okay, good.
So
And
that
I'm a
would
yes.
be- Well, I'm gonna just.
Okay, you can read them all out. That's fine. Go ahead.
Do, because for
I gotta
legal
run
reasons, I need to know. So for consent, we have House Bill 5291, LCO 3647, an act concerning the bonding for bikeways, greenways, and recreational trails. How do you vote?
Yes.
And then for the next consent bill, it's Senate Bill 239, LCO 3648, and that would be an act prohibiting the use of certain rodenticides in the protection of hawks, raptors, and other wildlife.
I'm a yes.
House Bill 503, sorry, House Bill 51403652 is the LCO number, an act concerning the hand harvesting of horseshoe crabs in the state.
Yes.
Just two more on consent, which is Senate Bill 117, LCO 3656. That's an act concerning tree removals on the properties under the control of the Department of Energy and Environmental Protection. How do you vote?
Yes.
House Bill 5298, LCO 3632, an act concerning waste to energy facilities. How do you vote?
Yes.
Wonderful. Okay, Amy, have a great
Thank you. I'm
weekend,
so
Representative.
sorry.
No worries. No worries. Have a good one.
Bye.
Bye. Rep Parrish, are you here? I thought I saw you come in. Hello there, Representative Paris.
Madam Clerk, how are you?
Good. Okay, so I have your bills here. So I have Senate Bill 238. Let me just pull up the language on that. Senate Bill 238, an act concerning the revision of certain environmental related state statutes. And that was with LCO 36. Oh, you know what? That was on consent. Hold on. Let me grab the ones that are not on consent first. We'll go much faster that way. Senate Bill 243 LCO 6553. And that's an act concerning the use of backup diesel generators for the purpose of peak shaving.
Yes, Representative Paris votes in the affirmative.
Thank you, Representative. Okay. And then my other bill would be 236, which is LCO number 3647. How do you vote, sir?
Representative Paris votes in the affirmative.
Thank you, Representative. And then on the, let me just see one more. Okay, and then just on the consent bill is the only thing that I need your attention on, Representative Paris. So very quickly, I'll just say them all, and then you can let me know how you vote on the consent, which is House Bill 5291, LCO 3647, House Bill 239, LCO 3648, House Bill 5140, LCO 3652, Senate Bill 117, LCO 3656, House Bill 5298, LCO 3632. How do you vote, sir?
Representative Paris votes in the affirmative.
Okay, thank you. Let me just make sure a text I got was not pertaining to this. Okay, so I think you're all set. Representative Paris, have a great weekend.
Thank you. You as well.
Okay.
Hi, Representative Reyes here.
Hi, Representative Reyes. I think you only have one vote, which is wonderful. So I have you down just for 2636 LCO 3635. And I can read that bill out if you'd like.
Please,
Okay, let me just find that bill for you.
please, thank you.
And that would be an act concerning the use of backup diesel generators for the purpose of peak shaving.
Representative Reyes votes in the affirmative.
Thank you, Representative.
Thank you. Have a great weekend, Gab. Thank you.
You too. You
Yes, ma'am.
too. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Hold up for just 1 second. I'm going to do the change. Okay, good. Thank you. Senator Kushner, I'm ready to take your vote. Whenever you are, Senator Kushner. So Senator Kushner, I'm not sure if you can hear me, but okay, so I do see that you've unmuted yourself and I just need the camera on so I can see you when we do the votes.
Hi. Sorry, I had a little technical difficulty getting on.
Hi, Senator Kushner, just give me 1 second.
Okay.
My phone was dying and I needed to plug it in and move my laptop so I could make sure I could get your vote. So let me just get the piece of paper that I need. I'll be right back.
Okay.
Things we do.
Okay, quick and painless. So I have Senate Bill 236, LCO 3635. Would you like me to read that?
Senator Kushner votes yes.
Thank you, Senator. If you want me to read out the titles of any bills, if you don't have the agenda in front of you, happy to do it, but just wanted to ask. So for Senate Bill 238, we did have a friendly amendment placed, oral amendment of just to remove strike 12, which was strongly accepted. So how do you vote on Senate Bill? I just want to make sure I have the number for you as well. Senate Bill 238 with LCO number 3635. How do you vote?
Senator Kushner votes yes.
Thank you, Senator. And then I have Senate Bill 243 with LCO 6553.
Senator Kushner votes yes.
Thank you, Senator. And then one last, which is just our consent calendar. And I'm just going to read them out. I know it's going to just take an extra minute, but I'll read it out. So it's House Bill 5291, LCO 3647, an act authorizing bonding for bikeways, greenways, and recreational trails. The next one was House Senate Bill 239. Just make sure actually my mic was closer. 239, an act prohibiting the use of certain rodenticides for protection of hawks, raptors, and other wildlife. The next consent bill was House Bill 5140, an act raising the hand harvesting of horseshoe crabs in the state. The next one was Senate Bill 117, an act concerning tree removal on properties under the control of the Department of Energy and Environmental Protection. And the last consent bill was House Bill 5298, Senate LCO number 3632, an act concerning waste to energy facilities. How do you vote, Senator Clerk, Senator Kushner?
Senator Kushner votes yes.
Thank you so much for your time, Senator, and have a really great weekend.
Thank you. Take care.